pay-per-view coming up this week. UFC 116. Can't believe they're up to 116. Fighting in the main event, the former champ, fighting the interim champ, Shane Carwin, on the Subway Fresh Tech hotline right now. Brock Lesnar. I still consider you the champ because you never actually lost the belt, right?
Yeah, let's get rid of that former champion.
Yeah, you got to lose the belt to lose the belt. You know, it's not your fault. You were hurt. I understand the interim champ thing, but I still feel like you should be called the champ.
Well, I am the champion.
Explain to America how dangerous your health situation was. So you were about to fight this guy, I think it was, 10 months ago?
It was last November. Yeah. Okay,
so 8 months ago. And all of a sudden, you just start feeling terrible, and your health takes a turn for the worse. They have to cancel the fight, and it turns out that you have diverticulitis, which I did some reading on this, and it just sounds horrible. I mean, it absolutely sounds like one of the worst things that I think could happen health-wise. How long did it take you to recover?
Well, actually, it took me a couple of months. I got sick, wasn't feeling right in October, and that's when I actually had pulled out on the fight. About a month before the fight was supposed to actually happen is when I decided that I just couldn't continue my training camp, and something was definitely wrong. And so I went back to the doctor, and they wanted to do a CT scan on my stomach, and I was just like, well, it's not really, it doesn't hurt all that bad. I've had some stomach pains here and there, and so I decided, well, I asked the doctor, let me just give me a little time here, and then I was diagnosed with mononucleosis, and because my body I was training so hard and trying to get ready for the fight that I just ran myself right into the grave almost, and so then I said, take some time off. So I went up to Canada, up to my brother's place in Canada, and was going to do some hunting, and the next thing I know, I'm going into shock one evening, and with severe stomach pain. So
it was pretty close to. I mean, you were pretty close there to not coming back. I mean, period.
Well, yeah. I mean, what happened is I had one of the problem areas in my stomach had exploded or perforated, and I was leaking free air into my diaphragm, into my stomach, or in my stomach cavity. So, yeah, it's not a good situation to be in. It was very painful, and I got to take my hat off to the doctor that actually, when I got down to Bismarck, North Dakota, that delayed the surgery and allowed for the antibiotics and my body to naturally heal the perforation. Otherwise, I would not be fighting today.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how close were you to basically calling it a career, not ever being able to fight again?
Well, it was really close. It was really close because what would have happened was I would have had to have a part of my colon removed, and that would have took about a year and a half, 2 years out of my career. So by then, who knows if I'd have came back or not.
Wow, pretty scary. Well, I'm glad you're back. The weird thing, I was researching you. You've only really had 5 MMA fights, correct?
Yeah.
It seems like you've been around for longer, but so in this fight, the big news is that you're switching to southpaw. Explain why you're doing this.
We went out and found Peter Welch, and I had, during my time off, I had a lot of things happen. I wanted to change a number of different things, from my diet to some of my training, some of my training staff, and some of my training partners, and because I wanted to evolve, evolve as a fighter, and so we just went out and we brought Peter in, and we decided that, these were some of the things, we gave it a try, and it just felt better, it felt more natural to do, so.
It reminds me a little bit of Rocky II. In Rocky II, he switched to, I think he went righty and tried to do the fast thing, and then he ended up switching back to southpaw in the end. You're doing the opposite. But when I've seen you fight, and I've seen, I think, 4 of your 5 fights, you're the only guy I've seen in the UFC that I feel like is pretty much unstoppable. Because it seems like anybody else could, physically could get taken down by the right move or get caught by the wrong punch, whatever. And it just seems like I don't know how I'd beat you if I was another heavyweight. Is there anybody else that has the physical advantages that you have in the UFC right now?
Well, I mean, I'm human, I really, other than a few other genetically gifted things that I've got, and I surrounded myself with the right coaches, but I mean, this is the fight game, and anything can happen, and we try to prevent from those things from happening. And this is any fighter out there is as good as one lucky punch, So I mean, we try to avoid that and control the fight. If we can control the fight, then I believe that I can win the fight.
And it seems like there's a little more luck than maybe there would be in boxing, where for the most part the right guy's going to win. And this, you even saw it with the Fedor fight the other day. You make one dumb mistake or you stumble into something, all of a sudden it's over and that's it. You don't get to get a second chance. That happened to you in the first Frank Mir fight. Going into the second one, did you switch game plans from fight 1 to fight 2? What was different about the second one? Because you destroyed him in the second one.
We didn't change anything other than just sit down and relax and control the fight. Have a controlled rage, and it's important to do because anything can happen at any given moment, and when you get anxious and excited and overzealous, that's usually when those things can happen.
Yeah. You went wrestling heel at the end of the second Frank Mir fight, which I loved. I thought it was fantastic. You took some heat for it, though, and even Dana White was upset. I thought it was a natural sports moment, and that was just the way you felt, and it happened. Do you regret how you acted, or is that something you do again, or do you feel like, man, I was wrong?
It was just pure raw emotion. I could have probably had a few more minutes to come off my high cloud, but it was real, and it wasn't something that. No, I don't have any regrets. I mean, you can't sit around and ponder about things that, I moved forward and moved on, and it is what it is. It happened, and regardless of who got mad or whatever happened, I mean, I'm in a better place now, and I got a big fight coming up, so that's where I'm at right now,
Because in boxing, they play this stuff up before the fight, and when they have... they'll have the weigh-in, and the guys will shove each other, and it always seems contrived, and after the fight they make up. And in UFC and MMA in general, it just seems like it's harder to kind of let some of that stuff go, and it is more of a fight, and it does feel a little bit more life or death. And I mean, that you were one example of that, but how much of the time does it carry over after the fight, and how much of the time is it like, hey, buddy, good match? This is a competition and it's a fight, but some guys look at it differently, as just pure competition. But when I step into the octagon, I'm fighting for my life. I'm fighting for my family. I'm fighting, to come out on top.